without further ado, I would like to present the first presenter. She didn't send me a biography, but she gave me permission to make one up for her. Audrey Grace was born at an early age, somewhere interesting. She found herself here through a series of uncoordinated events, and tonight she will be presenting about emotions. So I'd like to invite Audrey up here to start her presentation. Did you get a microphone on and everything? And you signed the release in case something happens? Because we don't have insurance for this. So you can come on up. This is all for you to use.
Thank you. And thank you for the kind biography.
Thank you. I have to wait a few seconds, and then I'm going to turn off the lights and run away.
Ooh. Good evening. I'm so glad to be here tonight, especially on such an important night for the Longmont Pecha Kucha, if I said it right, and it is one word, not two. I'm here to talk about emotions. I'll share with you a little bit about my inspiration for this topic, a bit about my process in exploring emotions, and then finally I have some slides expressing emotions, and that will all make sense to you as we go. My name is Audrey Grace. I was born and raised here in the Front Range. My background is in theater, and I'm the daughter of an artist and a poet, so you can decide if that qualifies me to talk about emotions tonight or not. I'm not a psychologist, though, or any other kind of professional who specializes in emotions, and for some reason, it seemed important to say that. My inspiration and interest in emotions began when I became the parent of a toddler. I was fascinated how natural it was for my son to connect with the concept of emotions when we would read stories, and how much he loved to act out emotions in the books that we read. And I think that's pretty common for most children that are that age. 2015 is the 100-year anniversary of Albert Einstein's theories of relativity, and I keep hearing about his thought experiments and how important they were to him and his discoveries. So learning about that has given me the courage and the inspiration to allow myself the time to ponder and play with the idea of something as ordinary as emotions. Once I became comfortable with the idea of trying to talk about emotions for 7 minutes, I decided the thought experiment should have a foundation to build on. So the first step I took was to figure out how I was defining emotions. I decided that emotion would be anything that could complete the sentence, I feel blank. Once I had my definition, I was inspired to choose 6 emotions to focus on. I chose these 6 because each have an opposite, and there's a balance of what I would label as being a negative emotion like sad and a positive emotion like happy. And once I had those, I had the idea to associate each emotion with a color. Next, I created this document. I contemplated whether or not it could be said every emotion has both a productive and destructive state or version of itself. And to test the question, I brainstormed variations, levels, and layers of each emotion. I imagined a drop of this emotion being added to 2 drops of that emotion and played around. I was curious at that point to know if there was any sort of common or basic set of emotions that have already been established for a conversation about emotion. When I conducted a search on the web for emotions, I mostly found psychology websites about human behavior, but this image caught my eye at the top where the image results are, and I clicked on it. That image result led me to a new search on emotions and feelings by color. And I discovered that there are these things called emotion color wheels. Once I started an image search for those, it opened up a whole new way to organize emotions, and this was my favorite find on my initial search. When I was scrolling through the results for emotion color wheels, I started to notice I was tracking several things in the back of my mind. For example, whether joy or happiness was being placed in yellow or green, if sadness was being placed in blue or green, if peaceful was placed in a state of happiness or in its own state. Eventually, my searching led me to these two images. I feel like these are kind of grown-up versions of my original 6 emotions. For me, it's a great example of how different colors can be used for a single emotion. Here, joy is placed in yellow, and in the other, it's placed in red. In one, sadness is blue, and another is green. The web searches helped me to feel that my interpretations of emotion were not too far-fetched, relatively speaking. So I took my final step in the process, which was to ask myself, if I had to express each of those first 6 emotions in the form of a PowerPoint presentation slide, how would I do so? The next 6 slides are my answer to that question. As you're watching, I invite you to ask yourself, if you were going to express an emotion through some sort of medium, how would you do it? And what medium would you use? Which emotions would you pick? What colors, images, or sounds do you associate with these emotions? I give you 6 emotions. Thank you for spending 7 minutes contemplating emotions with me. I'm coordinating a collaborative art exhibit based on emotions, and the project needs art, music, poetry, dancing, acting, and many other creative expressions. If you're interested in being involved, let's exchange contact information later. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I've actually known Audrey for over a decade a while back, so we've known each other a long time. She's a dear friend. A little emotional, but... as I went out this back door, I forgot to say that there are exits located here and here. You might check behind you because the closest exit might be behind you. Although we're in the firehouse, in the event of a fire, we will have to leave.